Week 3 of the SPL today begins today. And that's exactly where we're getting into. Hello and good afternoon, folks. From Alpharetta, Georgia, my name is F. Dot, and this guy's Adonis. We're going to break down 4 North American games today for you, starting with EnVy taking on Eager.
This is going to be exciting, right? It's our first matchup right now. You can see from the standings, Eager sitting there kind of in the middle of the pack at 4th. EnVy, only 2 points to their name. They split with 2 squads so far. First was Randozzo's. Very disappointing as their opening match. But just recently, last week, they actually closed out with the split against Denial, who's currently sitting atop North America. So a little bit of flash there. You know, they kind of are starting to get things rolling, it seems.
And I think that's really the true EnVy, the one that we saw split with Denial. I think they come down to being a more of a positive team than a negative team, though with a couple of rookies, and not rookies, but inexperienced.
Yeah, Skeeledon, Oceans, they've been there, right? They were in the spring split, although they were kind of on bottom teams. Obviously, Oceans formerly of Allegiance, right? He was that dual lane, the Hunter, and he was a very surprising find for Allegiance. And then Incon said it himself, like, I always find these good players and they go away, they leave me, and that's what happened. And Oceans doing a lot of good things for EnVy so far.
And then taking a look at even players like PolarBearMike, who have been in the league for a while, but really now stepping onto a big stage in and of themselves. That's who I'm looking at a lot when it comes to EnVy. PolarBearMike, and can and will he be able to lead this squad?
I mean, you look at the EnVy lineup, right, and you look at their primary carries, right? CycloneSpin, obviously best player in the world in the summer split. He kind of got forced out of his typical meta, right? No more assassins in the soul lane. It's really warriors, and now actually even shifting over into guardians even more so, which was even more disastrous for him in the fall split of last year. But, I mean, he's still really solid. We see him play this very greedy style, very, non-rotational, where he focuses on getting far ahead for himself, and sometimes that contradicts the team. And then Oceans over in that, Hunter role. This guy is phenomenal, right? He's this great pickup that, even Zapman is going to be a little bit scared to go up against in lane now.
Speaking of which, Eager will bring Zapman into the long lane here, as per usual. Everybody going to be starting here for the guys on Eager, and we saw them succeed last week as well, taking 2 wins to none above their opposition. Big part of that was djpernicus as well, actually turning up and making a choice to select some of the more curious characters in his god pool.
Talking about djpernicus, I think a lot of this set's going to come down to consistency in the jungle, because I talked about EnVy and how Oceans is great, how CycloneSpin is great as well, although there's still a little bit of disconnect between him and I think the rest of the team. But I think the jungle position is Skeeledon, right, where he has not shown up, right? I looked it up, and he actually has been, out of his first 6 games, he was first blooded 3 games. Another one where he was first blood on his own team. Their team did pick up a solo kill, I think, over in the lane, like CycloneSpin sold someone. But once the team fight broke out, he was the first to die. So he really seems to struggle in these early game scenarios, but we can see if he can get out of these early game scenarios ahead or even, what he can do, right? We noticed it against Denial. They came up with a massive win, had a phenomenal set against them here. So if Skeeledon shows up, this is going to be dangerous for Eager.
So as we head into picks and bans, I'd like to see that taken into account, and Skeeledon be given a character that is, I don't want to say easy to deal with during the early game, but somebody that comes into their stride during mid and late, because if inconsistency is going to be the motif for the jungler on EnVy, you obviously don't want to give him a character that needs to launch out right there.
I know he plays a really good Hunbats, just because that character can get behind in the early game and still transition very well, and then once he gets his items, he can battle it out. He's a really good team fighter. He's got a strong presence. It just happens to be in these smaller engagements. And I don't know if it's his mechanics. It seems more his decision-making than anything else that he'll kind of fall flat on trying to engage a fight that he's going to die in, and it doesn't go his way. Early game here, though, just to note, Terra is available here in Week 3, and Eager, they don't want to play with her just yet. They're just going to ban her away.
Going to start things off nice and simple, and that'll leave Nemesis available for EnVy, a perfect character for exactly what we were talking about.
Yes.
Nobody's expecting Nemesis to do anything from levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then once level 5 comes on, it's really up to you and where the team is. But when the mid game hits, Nemesis can really start doing her thing with that ult.
Yeah, I mean, you get that CDR online, you get the Jotun's Wrath also going into that kind of like hybrid tanky build. There's a lot of good flex options in the jungle right now when it comes to item builds. There's defensive routes. We've seen a lot of, more for the spring split, but a lot of Breastplate of Valors coming out of junglers like Nemesis, as well as Shifter Shield and Void Shield. All these that, provide offensive capabilities as well as defensive capabilities, able to kind of sustain and be that frontliner.
Guan Yu is going to be a tanky, sustainy frontliner as well for Team Eager. Most likely going to be paired up with Chronos, of course. That can wind up in the mid lane, but
that's Zap.
I'm expecting that to be Zapman all the way.
And Zap has been phenomenal with Chronos, right? These magical ADCs have come into the meta with the removal of Golden Bow. I know we've been talking about it a lot, but it's still very important because we're seeing the shift of these hunters really start to prioritize this. Like Sun Touch with Freya, Met Yankee has a really nasty Freya as well, and Zapman, he's shown that if he gets Chronos and he's left untouched up until 20 minutes, like it is devastating to have him rotate into team fights.
I mean, Chronos just by itself is just such a powerful pick, and next to the Guan Yu, certainly going to allow Team Eager to do pretty much whatever they want to do. Very open-ended team composition. EnVyUs going to select Bacchus and Ravana.
I like the Ravana pick, right? Because not only are you giving early pressure god to CycloneSpin, which he excels at, but you're also stripping that away from Divios. And Divios is the guy that has played Ravana so much, it's unbelievable. Divios was actually the one who brought Ravana into the meta. No one else was playing him at the beginning of the spring split. Divios starts playing him, plays him every single game, and people realize how important that early game pressure is.
Another character that really has been brought to prominence by, well, djpernicus and Divios. Both of them really liked this character before, and to my knowledge, after the rework as well, Ratatoskr selected here, most likely to find his way into the jungle.
Yeah.
I think the new version of Rat is more of a strict jungler.
And yeah, there are these flex options, obviously, but I also expect the Guan Yu to be in the support role. I still think we're waiting on Divios' god here in the end. And I like what Eager are doing. They're actually just target banning. They don't feel like there's any priority picks they need to take away. Obviously, they have Chronos in the hunter position. They could look to ban away a Chronos. Instead, they're just going to target out these picks that they probably don't get a lot of practice against. Chang'e, Nuwa, not a lot of mid laners like to run those. MLC stealthing kind of with the Nuwa, and then Kiki is really the only one running Chang'e. Why take the risk of playing into something you're unfamiliar with?
Yeah, it's just something like you said, unfamiliar, whether you're unfamiliar or just out of practice against.
The question is the Afro, though, because that's still left unbanned.
And with the Vulcan selection, it's certainly available. Is it the right selection here, though, against the lineup we see out of Eager?
It's possible, right? I'm still unsure of the Aphrodite. It obviously works for Envy, and that's what matters. They really like to team fight around Kiki. He plays more of this supportive style where he sets up his team, right? He's not the one who's going to be getting the kills. That's going to be Ocean's job, on this Hou-Yi pick. It's going to be Cyclone's job on that Ravana pick. And then hopefully the idea is that Skeeledon can get things rolling with Nemesis as well, and him and Kiki can set up their stars.
Don't forget, this is what I call normalized Hou-Yi. Hou-Yi has had the change, and it'll be Isis going into the mid lane for Kiki. Hou-Yi no longer gets the massive penetration boost towards the end of the game.
It was pretty ridiculous, right? Hou-Yi was absolutely unboxable with the 25% penetration when he maxed out his Mark of the Crow. Now in lane, and it also was reduced, right? Because it had an uptime of 15 seconds, while the cooldown was 18 seconds. So there was, even if a Hou-Yi was behind, he still had a complete item, right? So if he's even, he's an item ahead. If he's behind an item, he's actually just even with you. And it was very hard to box into him. Now there's going to be chances for Zapman to take fights.
Exactly. So just like I said, normalization. I don't want to really call it a too much of a nerf because he's still the only hunter in this game. So Hou-Yi's certainly making it known. Isis in the mid lane to go exactly you were talking about. Kiki's more, I don't want to call it support mid style, but less of a hard carry mid.
Yeah,
Isis has that potential, but more the setup.
More the early game. Isis obviously was the most dominant mage at the beginning of season 2, as well as kind of the end, the end of season 2, as well as like the beginning of season 3 when it came to early game pressure. Just her base abilities are very high damage scaling. She has multiple CCs in her kit with a silence as well as a stun, and then that ultimate is very good for stacking up damage on an objective and sneaking it away.
And it'll also work hand in hand with Skeeledon. Envy noticing what's been an issue for their team up to this point and able to make some changes. They realize, hey, Skeeledon struggles a little bit during the early game. Isis can certainly hold his hand during that situation. So just right away from the picks and ban phase, kudos to Envy for noticing what their problem has been up until this point and making a change.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, because Eager was defined as that early pressure team at the beginning of the season 3 here. They've kind of shifted their style. We're seeing a little bit more dynamic comps come out from them. Not that they didn't do so before, but right, Envy's, this is their game style, right? CycloneSpin has Ravana, he's going to win lane. As long as everything goes his way, there's no ganks. Kiki has Isis. He's going to win the lane, right? They're going to win the mid jungle. Ideally, it's a little bit different though, because Vulcan has a lot of early damage. Although Isis will be knock-up immune to the meatball, which is most important, which is where you see a lot of early kills come out from Vulcan. So this is expected for Envy to get Skeeledon in a winning position by minute 10.
Yeah, I don't expect anybody to really get a really strong first blood in this mid-jungle matchup unless there's a strong positioning mistake. But both the Isis and the Nemesis and the Ratatoskr combined with the Vulcan are going to do respectable damage to each other, but no real surprises until the ultimates come online.
It's only the Isis or the Vulcan who are going to get out of line, right?
Yep.
No way Skeeledon dies, no way djpernicus dies, unless they dive in a little bit too deep, getting a little bit greedy for that early kill. They have too many options to get away.
Which, I mean, it's Skeeledon and djpernicus. These are two players that can certainly get a little excited and try to make the plays happen.
Oh, look at this. A very early rotation from Aror. Kiki's in trouble.
And the stun goes the other way. djpernicus has to dash to safety. Eager knew exactly what they wanted to do, but so did Envy.
The problem there for DJ was that the minions were still alive in the wave, and now he's going to be pressured out of this left-hand side. This is actually forcing a full rotation from Envy, and djpernicus has no idea. He's walked into the mid-camps.
Yeah, it's going to be jumped on top. Aror gets knocked up, stunned as well, but the 4 players for Envy commit more to the Harpies than the kill itself.
That almost got dangerous for DJ. You could see him setting up, trying to steal those mid-camps away from Envy, but thankfully, he decides not to try and contest them and back off. You could see that full rotation from PolarBearMike and Oceans. They were set up to kill him.
Hey, you know, even going back to that play of the mid lane, sure, the minions were still up, but credits to Kiki. If Kiki gets stunned there instead of finding the turnaround Spirit Ball himself, all of a sudden Aurora dashes in, and maybe you see both players die because of those minions, but I think you certainly see Kiki in a little bit more trouble than able to stun, walk away, and collect left Harpies. So Envy already starting off pretty awake.
You know, that was a pretty funny dynamic, too, on what happened, right? The Chronos and this Guan Yu actually had a lot of lane pressure. Obviously, Guan Yu providing heals to the minions, heals to Zapman in any poke wars, and so they were pressuring up. That's what allowed Aurora to actually try and make that rotation early on, but because of that, he relinquished lane pressure, and now Zapman got pushed to his tower, which allowed Envy to have that double rotation of PolarBearMike and the Ho Yi, and now they're actually having this pushback. They're continuously pushing them back because Aurora missed so much farm.
And Eager going to sit here and try to deal with it, and as soon as we get a couple more levels on the Chronos, it should be less of a problem here. Once that level 5, level 4, level 5 comes on, you start to get free wave clear because of the way Chronos' passive works. DJ in a little bit of trouble. Might have been able to get out of there without the ultimate, Kevin.
Wasn't worth the risk.
Exactly. Just better safe than sorry right there.
PolarBearMike still trying to set up a kill, though. He knows DJ's ult is down, but Skeeledon and Kiki more focused on the wave, and this is PolarBearMike, right? As a Bacchus, you want to try and set up kills early. You have a lot of burst damage with your ultimate once you hit level 5, which PolarBearMike has just hit, as well as the guaranteed knockup, right? Unless the purification comes out before the knockup happens, it is the hardest form of CC in Smite, right? Stuns you can beads out of, slows you can purify, you have so many options, but if you're knocked up in the air, there is no way to say, I want to come down right now, and you're going to be taking so much burst.
Off of that single, a little bit of pressure coming out from that ability. We see the mid lane pushed out, and Envy very clearly going to go for the speed buff. So everybody knew that Envy was going to the speed buff for that invade. Eager took note as well. Because they were a little bit more spread out across the map, Eager unable to really respond to the speed buff directly. So what do? Eager go into the other side. They go into the enemy jungle on the left and strip away the red buff away from the mid lane.
And I think intelligently, Eager is just the most one of... Actually, I do think they're basically the most intelligent team when it comes to this. Obviously, Energy going to give them a run for their money in that, but when it comes to North American Smite, they're one of the few teams that are willing to give up buffs and make these active trades. They're like, we know you're going to invade. We don't feel like we're in a position to fight right now. Once your Bacchus hits 5, you still have a very early game Isis. So we're just going to instead, DJ doesn't need a speed, right? We'll just take the red. It's going to be equal in farm, and DJ just has less opportunities to gank now.
And I like what you said right there. DJ doesn't need the speed. Now, of course, don't say that directly to a jungler's face.
No.
But something very interesting, just as a thought experiment, right? djpernicus has a semi-global ultimate, and Zapman is a magical hunter. At the end of the day, I'd rather have the 2 red buffs than the speed buff on a Ratatoskr.
Yeah, and if Zap can utilize this, that's what's going to be best right now. Both Zapman and Oceans trying to finish these big, just power game items early on. Transcendence for Oceans, obviously the highest physical power in the game, and then Doom Orb, which is just not the highest magical power because, well, I mean, Spear of Desolation is 120 plus 20 pin, which is a whole lot, but it's a whole lot of power for a very it's like 3,800 compared to the 1,800 of Doom Orb. So I mean, these are going to be massive power games, and that red buff is only going to help that.
So we're going to see Eager now try to position themselves in a spot. Only 5 minutes in, like we said, no first blood, and exactly as we anticipated. These junglers certainly don't want to make a play before level 5, and it's not as if the level 5 train hits and they can do whatever they want.
And you can see DJ's positioning as well, where he's just very passively kind of running around this belt of mid camps right by his tower. He's staying very safe. He doesn't want to get out of position. He knows Skeeledon has his speed. He knows PolarBearMike is trying to look for kills. And that's what you're seeing from Envy right now. You see pressure on the left-hand side. PolarBearMike actually looking to set up something. I think he might have just been checking on that speed buff timer, or excuse me, red buff timer though.
Yeah, just wants to keep an eye on the jungle. You can see a little bit of vision, but not a lot. Players in general using their faces to check the vision. You've got the typical Gold Fury wards coming out pretty much from both team, and then a little bit on the right side to keep an eye on the solo lane, but nothing too out of control.
This is just really well played from Eager right now. They're not getting out of position. You can see Envy really trying to force it all across the map right now. They're setting up for that second speed buff invade. The question is, are they going to defend something?
It's possible. Envy now caught out in Eager's jungle, though. Envy wanted to go for the second speed buff invade. That's what they'll do, grouping up as 4. But Eager now have the play, and they're going to make the initiation. Aurora and the Horse can't find the stun on the both. Just gets Kiki. There's the downplay from both the jungle and the mid lane. And Kiki in trouble. DJ cleans it up. Divios as well. First blood and then some for Team Eager.
Perfect wombo combo. Oceans has made the rotation, but the problem is his team's already lost the fight. He's going to be forced to jump over the wall, trying to get away. PolarBearMike makes it out as well, but first 2 kills go the way of Eager, and it was just so well played, right? And this was just, I love what they did. The first thing that happens is we see Aurora ultimate in, right? And what he's trying to do is just scare Envy, get them to back off and try and reset. At the same time, DJ uses his ult, takes to the sky, and knocks up Kiki as well as Skeeledon the second TheBest fires his. Earthshaker hits them both. I believe it was sanctuaried out, I want to say, by Kiki,
yes.
And it was, but he still had to burn that relic. He had still been bursted very low already, and they're able to clean up.
Spread out, so important for Eager. I like how they made that play as well. They, the first time around, speed buff gets invaded, they go, okay, you caught us a little bit by surprise, we'll go take your red buff. Second time around, Eager are well aware. You can surprise us twice, that's not how surprise works. So Envy making the rotation for the right time. Eager are prepared, and they're ready to make the play.
And not only do they win that fight, but they also bait Oceans to rotate in. By the time he gets there, the fight's already over. So Zapman was able to not only free farm in lane, but steal that red buff away and the boars away again. Already a 400 gold lead just in the hunter position.
And right there, it's very curious to see that the game has been evened up. Like you said, Zapman gets his own little lead, and Eager are going to have to use that to position themselves, because before, Envy were a little bit ahead, surging forward, and Zapman had to deal with that. Now, the teams are even, and Zapman's ahead, so look for Chronos to really start making plays.
And that's really what it comes down to when you look at the pressure on the map, right? We expected CycloneSpin to bully Divios in lane. You could see the difference in gold there. That's about 300 to 400. And that's where their lead came from, right? They had that invade on speed as well. They just put pressure into the jungle like they're supposed to, and it all worked out for them.
Again, I mean, that's what you're expecting out of the solo lane. Amaterasu doesn't do anything until, well, now. She's level 11. Level 9 is when she started being able to dance. And on the other hand, Ravana, right, level 1, he's already trying to get everything going. So you're expecting that a little bit. If you're an Eager fan, you're certainly looking at a situation that is all planned for.
Something a little surprising is Kiki was not, like, just looking at these damage charts, Kiki was not able to get off any damage in that fight at all. That's like a couple basics or maybe 1 or 2 ticks of wing gust at all. He was completely focused out. They recognized that he had that sanctuary, and so we saw Aurora go in, look for the stun. They had the guaranteed knockup from DJ as well, and there was nothing Kiki could do to stop it. I mean, he probably could have wing gusted, but I'm pretty sure it was down there, so he's not going to be knockup immune.
Yeah, just completely controlled by Team Eager, both collapsing on the players that they already separate.
Oceans. He says, hello, Zapman.
Zapman just
go back to your tower.
Shuffles away.
I'm still, like, I might have taken a nerf on Hou-Yi, but you don't want to get double tapped by me, because that's still the same. Actually, the rank 1 of the, or not the rank 1, excuse me, the initial hit of the Golden Crow into the Ricochet is actually, or excuse me, it doesn't even need the Golden Crow.
No,
just the Ricochet is actually doing more damage up front on that first hit. The bounces are reduced in scaling, but it still equals out to be the same.
Just a whole bunch of I wouldn't say interesting changes on Hou-Yi. They basically brought him down in line with the other hunters. Of course,
power shift, I think, is the word.
Yeah, you can check out the full patch notes, but at the end of the day, Hou-Yi still definitely going to be a powerful choice. Right now, Gold Fury being danced around by Envy. They want to pull, but I think they're looking for a fight.
They have the Isis ult here. This is almost guaranteed. Eager don't really have an ability outside of the Earthshaker, and Best is not going to have the timing to do this. This was just really well played by Envy.
Aror comes on in after getting Nemesis ultimate, so he's going to be careful and shoved out to the left-hand side. There's Zapman already claiming a kill. Divios, rotation onto Oceans. He's very low, but Eager, no signs of stopping. Continuing on the left side, Aror again finds himself in trouble, and Eager just going to look towards the red buff.
Oceans, what are these shots? But he still walks back in, and Zapman finds him. What are you doing, son? Can't stay there, too late. And here comes the Earthshaker as well. It's going to be a little bit off the mark, but Zapman's already cleaned up another.
And he's still looking for more players taking the tower. Divios going to be doing the dirty work. CycloneSpin able to answer back, find the kill onto djpernicus, but Zapman gets 3 kills in the game so far. 2 in that exchange.
I mean that was great from Envy, right? They forced the Gold Fury, maybe a little bit ambitious because Eager sees it going on. Still, they have the Isis ultimate, they have the guaranteed secure, and they go for it. They have to expect some form of loss, though, as Eager look to re-engage. djpernicus, once again, finding that knock-up onto KikiSoCheeky, but they escaped. They had only had 1 death. Everything was going to be fine. And then all of a sudden, you just see Skeeledon and Oceans on very low health start to creep back into the fight, not wanting to give up their red buff at all and trying to save that, actually put it in Eager's favor overall. Envy still with, 100 gold lead, but the Gold Fury completely neutralized, giving up extra lives they didn't have to.
So this is what we're seeing. This is the second time we've seen this happen already, still very early in the game. Envy are making great plays, but Eager just know how to respond. At what point in the game does it become bad to be the responder? Because Eager are they keep returning this game to the middle state, but what point do they stop getting that opportunity?
Well, I mean, this is all they need to do, right? There's an Isis, there's a Ravana who are going to fall off significantly in the late game. It's going to be very hard for the Isis to survive against kind of this dive composition that Eager has, right? They have the Chronos that can, commit really hard, rewind out. They have Aror who's going to be able to cavalry charge, and nothing Kiki can do to stop it unless he blinks and is not in combat. djpernicus with his ult, we've already seen his main target has been Kiki in all these fights, and that's all Eager needs to do. They don't need to get ahead right now. They just need to wait for the late game when this Isis and Ravana aren't going to be as effective.
And the best in Zapman certainly will be. So Eager keeping an eye on their carries. Right side, keeping an eye on CycloneSpin. Already, immunity has been burned. Divios and Aurora still trying to deal damage to him and his jungler. Skeeledon shows up, but nothing to be concerned about. I think both teams just looking for some farm here on the right side.
PolarBearMike making a rotation as well. Eager have a ward, so they know this is happening. And PolarBearMike clearly trying to set up for an engage, right? They want a 3-on-2, but Eager know exactly what's going on there. Really great warding coming out from them. You can see on the right side, they've got multiple, as well as some key points on the left-hand side, too. They've got that sentry ward on the top left of the mid-Harpies. What's surprising, though, is Envy actually have very defensive positioned wards when you would think that they'd be more aggressors.
A little bit, and I'll venture a guess as to why we're seeing more defensive, because Eager has been responding by the invade, right? Envy has been very aggressive, and Eager respond by either stripping away the enemy red buff by way of invade, or coming in aggressively and playing in the enemy jungle and getting kills by way of invade. So Envy are making the aggressive plays, but they're being punished, or at least being reprimanded by on those aggressive plays by the invades from Eager. So protecting their own jungle, I think, is the idea.
And Envy right now, they're definitely trying to force some fights. As you see, djpernicus right on that speed. I don't think he was seen on the ward, though. Envy making sure to defend their red. But right now, Envy, they finished some really big items. You could see Runic Shield coming online for CycloneSpin. Void Shield has been finished by Skeeledon. Kiki's got his Spear of the Magus, right? PolarBearMike just finished Pestilence. Like, this is a really good time to fight. And you can see Eager going more for these defensive style. They've got 3 winged blades right now.
Keeping an eye out for all of the slows. I mean, Nemesis, of course, is the slow machine, but you can't not look at what Kiki and, more importantly, CycloneSpin are able to do should they get you in the clutches. So, gotta have that ability to shed the slows.
This is incredible itemization, right? You always want to see winged blades against Nemesis. It's a necessity, right? But to see 3 players pick it up this early is almost unheard of. djpernicus is working on it, too. I think he went for the Jotun's Wrath at first. He's like, oh, wait, guys, we're building wing blades, aren't we? Okay. And now this is going to make it really hard for Skeeledon to set up these pick-off plays, which is what Envy has been trying to do. They're invading the jungle, right? But we haven't really seen them try and gank or fight. Not that they haven't they have been trying, but they haven't been in a position to do so because of Eager playing very passively.
Just waiting for the right spot. Envy want to be the aggressors, but like you said, just no window really open for them, and you can see them. PolarBearMike is really who I've been watching this whole game, and you can see him show up to a lane and say, all right, can we do it, guys? No, okay. And then he goes away, and then he shows up to a lane and he goes, all right, can we do it? Okay, no, we can't. And really, it's just Eager's good positioning and keeping the game spread out.
I think they're one of the most intelligent. I think they are the most intelligent team in North America. They're proving it here as well. Their play style, like they just understand what compositions they're against, and they understand how to play against them. Right now, they have an Isis, right? They have a Nemesis who's got a Ravana in the soul lane as well. They're going to win early game. We could concede this. We can give them a speed buff. We'll take their red, right? We don't really need to fight this Gold Fury. Let them get it, and then we hard engage as a full team after they've taken out Poke. Everything they've done right now has been exactly their game plan, and now you can see the teleport as Envy trying to do it again.
Yeah, Envy's trying to make that play, forcing Eager over the left-hand side, specifically Divios burning the teleport, keeping it on Cyclone, who still has his available on the right side of the map, and Envy collapsed towards the gold, so much so that Eager take the bait, and they bring their solo laner over, but Envy then spread out. Very curious.
Envy got to start making plays, right? We need to start seeing, this is the time, right? Level 12, 13, 14, you could start to dive towers, right? This is where you can get away with those instant burst kind of fights. But the issue is that they're not finding very good opportunities. Eager have these very defensive wards, as well as that, you know, looming presence of djpernicus with that semi-global ultimate. If you try and force a fight in the left-hand side and he's in mid, he's going to make it there before you're finished diving the tower, and you always have to be worried about the Ratatoskr.
So what's stopping Envy from just grouping up as one and taking an objective, whether it's the tier 1 tower, Gold Fury, a fight in general? What is Eager doing specifically to stop Envy in their tracks?
I mean, they're just not getting out of position. They're not putting themselves, they're not giving Skeeledon an opportunity to force the fight. That's the main thing. Also, as this game progresses, they don't have the worst team comp because they still do have a Hou-Yi who translates very well into late game, the Bacchus very well into late game, and the Nemesis very well into late game. So they have these options outside of just the Isis and Robin early pressure, but the issue right now is that Kiki's in trouble.
He's all by himself. Relic's already burned. Here comes help from Divios and everybody else.
Why is Divios here?
Envy just too little too late. Kiki gets caught out in the mid lane. Skeeledon thinking about coming right back in, but that would have been problems for him and his team as well.
Look at that wave. Look, there's a single minion on the right-hand side. CycloneSpin was proxying between the Phoenix and the tier 2 tower, which means Divios had no worry. Like, they saw him on the map, so there was no worry about Divios rotating. CycloneSpin couldn't call it out because they only have one ward. It's on the top side, and it just fell off. That opened up the opportunity for him to make that rotation, and you saw that, right? This is why Eager is a top team. The second Skeeledon left Kiki alone in the mid, immediately 4 members go for the kill. No hesitation.
Eager group up towards Gold Fury, and again, I like this play as well. Drop the turret down, try to chase CycloneSpin out as well, but also clear out their jungle. Never doing nothing is a big part of why Eager's able to maintain a little bit of a lead here in our fall split of 2016. And right now, Eager still not ready to go for the gold, even with the Isis down.
They don't have to. They are not worried about playing an early game, right? They are happy to go into 40 minutes dead even, right? They have a Chronos, they have an Amaterasu, and Kiki's going to have so much trouble dealing with all these gods that can dive him very effectively. As long as Zapman and djpernicus and TheBest don't really overextend too much. Obviously, Zapman has the rewind, but the later you go, the more dangerous it gets to try and go deep and rewind. But as long as TheBest and DJ aren't caught out in bad positions, like they're going to have a much easier time dealing with Skeeledon and CycloneSpin than Kiki is with Divios and DJ.
PolarBearMike over here looking for some vision one more time by the objective. Still getting just punched by this turret from TheBest. A lot of damage coming out from Vulcan even when he's not around.
Oh man, this is deadly, right? Winged Blade has now been finished on djpernicus, and Aror is starting up one as well. Has Skeeledon ulted once? I think he ulted once. Maybe? Like maybe when they invaded that speed on the right-hand side. That's it. This is an ult that you need to be using often, right? It's an incredibly low cooldown, 70% at base right now. It is going to be changing next patch, but for the sake of this set, it's 70 seconds base. He has 20% CDR, right? This is a cooldown you need to be expending as much as possible. Even if you don't find a kill, at least force out a relic, at least force out another ultimate, because yours is just going to be up faster.
Yeah, it's only been in the team fights that we've seen it. We haven't really seen these gank tries just yet. We saw a smart ultimate onto Aror, which forced him out of a team fight earlier on.
Oh, Skeely.
But Auror's already coming around the side for the ultimate. Finds a stun, gets knocked right on back. Up at the top is TheBest. Can't find it, but Ratatoskr coming right on down after he chooses a target. Knock up from Bacchus. Going to send djpernicus in the other direction.
Oh, CycloneSpin making a rotation as well. He's got the root on TheBest, but he's just going to be running away. Winged Blade in full effect there. Does have to burn. Oh, no relics burned, actually. Excuse me. Just manages to walk out of that unscathed. djpernicus and Skeeledon both barely surviving in that engagement, both going very deep for their own kills. Not able to clean up, though, unfortunately.
A little bit left over, and you're trying to make the big play over there on the left side, looking for at least a kill or two so they can start the Gold Fury. You can see Eager, like you said, they're totally ready to stretch this one out another 20 minutes, but you can see their trigger fingers starting.
Yeah, right now they're starting to feel it, right? And what opened up that fight was actually Zapman finding Skeeledon rotating out of the jungle. He got a time stop, a time rift for 60% of his health, something crazy.
Yeah, Eager planning their positioning right. We talked about power spikes before and everybody getting this Winged Blade. The item after that for Chronos is going to be a ton of penetration. So with the shard online, Eager certainly ready to make a fight. Zapman here by himself. Get a force purification out of Skeeledon.
Also, actually, the reset on the Gold Fury completely is best. Puts his turret down. You can see the rotation as well from Divios. Immediately gets ulted by Skeeledon, but that barely tickled him, and they're not going to have any use out of his ult.
Aror chasing mid lane Kiki out of the fight. He's all the way gone, 40%, so he can come back, but Eager have the positioning.
Just look at the ults. Actually, no, excuse me. Kiki's and PolarBearMike's just came up. Envy couldn't fight this. Now they have the option to. Best still has his. Divios' and Auror's are down. This is going to be a pretty scary fight here. This may determine the state of who wins this.
Still, Eager have the better positioning, the foothold.
They don't have their engage tools, though. Aror and Divios both burn their ults. Those are the best engage tools Eager have outside of DJ ulting. But based on what happened the last time he ulted, just recently on the left-hand side, he's not really in a position right now to survive if Envy focus him when he comes down. So instead, Eager just going to back off. They want to wait for those engage ultimates to come back up and open up another opportunity for themselves to go in.
Waiting for these 100% opportunities, because right now the fights seem to be looking pretty good for Eager, but pretty good, not good enough. They want to see something where everything is pretty much guaranteed for them, I think, is where we're going to be waiting. Zapman gets stunned. Trouble up top as well at the rotation from the solo lane. And Zap's still on trouble here.
He's going to go on a really long run right now. He's going to be met by PolarBearMike in the jungle. TheBest is rotating. Same with djpernicus. I'm interested if Eager are going to just give up on Zapman. No, they've actually made the rotation, and he is going to get out there. Really smart pathing coming up from Zap.
And the shell popped as well. Just a little bit of help from the support player. Aror really coming on in. And Envy, again, well, they shove Eager off of their own positioning. And everybody pretty much looking for the reset. However, left side, Ocean's going to be defending his tower, just barely hanging on.
Ooh, that almost was an opportunity for TheBest to get picked off there. Still has both his relics, though, so he's going to be fine overall. Skeeledon, his ult just wasn't up. Gold Fury is still being looked at right now, but I mean, Envy have already given up all their early game opportunities, right? We're 23 minutes in. You have Isis Ultimate, but you can't risk just tanking it up this time. There's going to be too much damage coming out. Players are starting to hit these big damage items. Obviously, Eager going to be a little bit delayed because all 5 of them have gone into this Wing Blade, but you can see the penetration starting to be built by Best, and Jotun's Wrath finished by DJ now.
And a 23-minute Vulcan. Right, and the 23-minute Vulcan.
His base damage is still really high.
He doesn't even have that many power items, right? He's got a helmet and some boots and everything else. Just now finishing the Obsidian Shard, and this is where you got to be careful. I mean, even my point is, even without these items at 23, 22 minutes, he's level 15, level 16 at this point. Tossing the ultimate above can be just as devastating as a Wrath coming up close to take your objective away. So Envy doesn't have that early game prowess that the Isis ultimate brings in the middle of it.
Yeah, and CycloneSpin's hit level 20 as well, but Divios, is matching him. They're even in gold. Curse actually picked up for Envy, though, on the side of CycloneSpin, so that's really surprising, because there's 5 wing blades. I don't know why you would go into that.
Just looking for it. There's the jump, and Oceans just trounced TheBest. Nowhere even close to even starting a fight. Just kind of got caught out.
And that's brutal right now because Eager, it's going to be hard for them to defend this. You can see Divios rotating over. He just wasn't in the fight when he needed to be. It was just a 5-on-1. We talked about it, right? These mid laners, they cannot get caught out because they are going to get, evaporated. That's just what happened. Envy now, have a pretty good opportunity here. They're going to go aggressive on Zap. Still taking the Gold Fury, though, and like Skeeledon, what?
Just
Oceans,
barely.
what?
Yeah, I mean, so Skeeledon took a whole bunch of damage from Zapman all the way to the backside, and DJ shows up, getting rid of the stun out of the Bacchus. Still in trouble, though. Stunned and knocked up. Immune is good for the Rat, and Divios able to put down Kiki.
DJ on like no health, still going in. Zapman's cleaned up Oceans as well. It's CycloneSpin just trying to finish off djpernicus. He will, but he has to burn his ult for that. That means there's opportunity now for Eager to clean up the rest of these members here, but it's just they seem a little bit too tanky. Aror, Divios, and Zapman just need a little bit more damage online to deal with them.
I mean, these are the two tanks of Envy, right? PolarBearMike and CycloneSpin. Neither character really built anyway but defensive, so Eager gonna have some problems dealing with them, but Gold Fury still an option.
PolarBearMike doesn't want to give this up for free, though. You can see no relics online. His ultimate is down. This is going to be near impossible, but he's actually baited Zapman closer, and he's going to be forced to burn a couple relics, just trying to get away from CycloneSpin. The ultimate will secure the Gold Fury, and finally, Eager answer back. But I mean, that fight was so awkward because Skeeledon tanked the Gold Fury until like 10% health, and Aror just tickled him to kill him.
Well, also there was a problem for Zapman way up at the front of the fight. The one spell combo he was able to toss out, he gets the stun onto Skeeledon, who purifies it, and then he drops the time rift underneath him, bringing him from 100 to 20%.
Yeah,
and then Skeeledon gets hit a couple of times by the Gold Fury, bringing him down to 10. I mean, that was honestly, like, Skeeledon, you want to talk about bad place, bad time. Like, he got oopsie daisied by the Chronos, and then Gold Fury smacked him in the brain.
I mean, like, there just is clearly this disconnect that you're seeing with Cyclone. Like, you watch all of EnVy's games, and CycloneSpin and the rest of the team are just not on the same page.
Yeah.
CycloneSpin goes aggressive there, trying to, I guess, it didn't even feel like zoning. He wasn't really zoning. He was trying to kill Zapman by himself. And the issue is that Aror and DJ just looped around and killed his carries unscathed. He wasn't doing any damage on the Gold Fury. He wasn't zoning. He was bloodthirsty, looking for a kill. And maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe he was zoning, but it just doesn't look like this. There's too many instances of CycloneSpin doing stuff that's completely contradictory to what the rest of his team is doing.
You know, and I'll go with you so far that that's a problem because the Ravana at the point wasn't able to really find the kill. Now he's got Chinsai available, so if he does decide to go aggressive and get bloodthirsty and look for a kill, at least now he's able to find the kill with that item.
I mean, it's not like any one of them is wrong, right? Maybe it's okay if CycloneSpin has this mentality where he's going to go aggressive, looking for kills and force a fight. Maybe it's okay for EnVy to commit to the Gold Fury because they had already picked off the best. But the issue is, like, you got to make one call, and the team's got to commit to it. You can't be doing different things in the same fight. It's just not going to work out.
Unity. I mean, we did a lot of work this season, both now and earlier in the season. I remember you writing a couple of articles about just how important it is team synergy. Your individual skill is kind of left to the wayside. Everybody's good these days. How good is your team as a unit? PolarBearMike by himself as the unit of Team Eager aggress on him. There's a shell. Solo stunned is PolarBearMike. He'll get knocked up again thanks to djpernicus.
He's still alive.
And the last shot comes from the jungle.
Actually, he survived long enough to allow this rotation from EnVy as well. Kiki going to be off the mark on the stun, and DJ is going to be able to escape out, but the problem is Skeeledon's here as well.
Down comes the ultimate out of Isis. Heals
Zap's
himself
here,
up,
what?
and Zapman gets a kill. But that's the problem. Rewind isn't perfect. Gets shut down way too close.
Oh, and this is really good. You can see the wing blade had already been burned. Skeeledon can't chase DJ, though. That speed buff, as well as the extra bonus movement speed, a little bit too much for him to deal with. Divios actually split pushing, did not have teleport up there. How does Zapman win that 1v3, though? And he was so close to rewinding. That was like Oceans is lucky he just finished Rage and got that crit.
I mean, the build out of Zapman is, I love the build out of Chronos right here, and Eager trying to fight, keeping EnVy aware and away from their back button. Divios able to get 2 towers there on the right side with the split push. Eager not done just yet on the left side, pushing up. Guess who's home? It's Divios, baby raging all the way home.
He's got the stun under the tower. Ocean's going to be able to sneak away just barely, though, and PolarBearMike's respawn, trying to get the engage to happen, but Eager just going to back off, not going to stay too long. We know that EnVy did. And overall, Eager still looking very good. They've expanded themselves now to a 6K gold lead off that tower on the left-hand side, as well as a couple extra kills.
Man, I thought we were going to see a huge fight. Divios rotating all the way from the solo lane on foot, full HP, full mana, ultimate ready to go, and then you look at everybody else, you're like, all right,
Hey man, the relics.
Auror's got no mana. DJ wants to go home. Zapman's already dead, and he's just mad he's not there. So
Well, that's the thing, right? Eager, they said like 30 minutes, that's their game, right? We can give up that speed buff early game. We don't need to fight at all there. But when it comes to these late game scenarios, Zapman's going to come online, DJ's going to come online. They got a 6K gold lead. There's no reason to risk diving that tower there. Play it safe. Play your lead. There's no, like, why go for anything crazy?
Yeah, risk versus reward, as Allied would always say, go for the 100%. When you got to start guessing who's going to come out on top, that's when you got to start retreating. Left side, I would have liked to see it. Yes, the fan in me wants to see it, but it's certainly not the right choice to go with all of your abilities and mana pools already expended. Instead, Eager going to adjust and look towards the right side as it's Fire Giant time. A half hour on the clock now. Eager up 11 kills to 4 and certainly leading this game as well. 5,000 gold, so to speak.
Experience as well, right? 7K in favor of Eager. Not too big right now. The best is equal right now. It's really just DJ who's got 2 levels, as Zapman and Oceans are both level 20, and supports are both level 16. But Eager just doing a really good job of farming overall here. Skeeledon definitely wants to try and hit 20 as soon as possible. We're 30 minutes in. Just having those last couple ranks on your abilities going to become very critical as we see these players escape with almost no health half the time.
Just barely. CycloneSpin going to be dancing around here, chasing his good buddy Divios away from the Fire Giant.
This is interesting. I mean, going back to the items build, right? Eager are now starting to become scary. You look at Zapman, he's finished Rod of Tahuti. He's got his Polynomicon as well. I mean, he's full build at this point. And the most dangerous thing you can deal with, he's going to find the rewind as well. And djpernicus just juking out Oceans. He knows Zap is going to be able to clean up this kill, but he's actually rewound too far back.
Yeah,
6 seconds.
Zap's caught out in the jungle. Here comes help from Envy as well. Ultimate is good. And DJ able to get up into the sky. Here comes Divios looking for 2 stuns. Gets 1. Off the mark is TheBest with the ultimate. And now Envy chasing Eager up through the corridor. Everybody should be fine. Couple ultimates used right there.
Once again, they're just on different pages. djpernicus was an absolute free kill. Oceans actually stopped chasing him just as Skeeledon cut across the jungle, and that actually gave time for DJ to stop in place and ult. If Oceans had kept chasing, 1 basic would have finished him. Yep. I mean, 2 maybe if he doesn't crit, but still, just disconnect from this team.
Envy now with no abilities, no ultimate abilities to their name. Eager's going to start the fight here. Aurora up on the horse trying to find a stun. Can't. Goes the other way.
Defensive. I mean, he had to right there. He was in the middle of 4 Envy members. He can't get picked off. This is too critical of a situation.
Even still, Skeeledon now getting the ultimate back up. Watch Envy as their ultimates will tick up. Kiki's probably
have to win this.
Just a couple of seconds, and Eager now engaging. Here comes Aurora, no ultimate, doesn't need one. Best able to put one down with his abilities alone. Problems for CycloneSpin, but Oceans answers back, taking down Divios. Cyclone still alive, 3-on-3 here on the backside. Zapman gets 1 with the stun, looking for more. DJ can't find the knockup, but still able to deal the damage and surrounds CycloneSpin. PolarBearMike jumps over the fence, over the wall, into the tier 2 tower, and Eager are looking for the tower this time. Mid's already gone. That's both tier 1 and tier 2. Eager retreat for the gold.
If they get this gold, it's going to be nigh impossible for Envy to come back into this one. They were already struggling objectively. They were already struggling when it came to the kills and the fights as well, and this is going to be absolutely devastating. 7.5 gold lead right now. It's going to be almost 10K after this is picked up, and unless Envy can just go big with Oceans, it's very hard. We saw, I talked about it at the beginning, right? What it's gonna come down to is that Kiki is going to have a lot of trouble with Divios and djpernicus, and even TheBest combined with that. And that's like, Kiki could do nothing. He couldn't even get his ult off in time before he died. You could see he's actually starting to build into Spirit's Robe just to deal with this pressure.
Yeah, the ISIS obviously late game has a couple of problems, unable to really translate here in the late game. And I'm with you. I think that Gold Fury, that right there was the dagger. Eager now going to take that, and it's going to be very difficult to knock Eager off of their pedestal at the moment.
This is why ISIS was not in the meta for so long in Season 1. It was really only Sayo and Mace to the Face, the only 2 players in the entirety of the Smite Pro League who would play her. And it's because, as great as she was early, when it came to late game, it was very hard to deal with. It was a different meta back then. That's when you saw a lot of Kali's, though. Serket, I believe, had just recently come out, so she really struggled against these high-pressure, high-mobility assassins that could get to her in the backline and she couldn't defend against. Teams have improved, though, and they're better at protecting their players. But the issue is, who is going to protect Kiki? Like, who has a hard stun outside of PolarBearMike? One button hard stun outside of Kiki himself, right? Which, if it's purified, it's out. And then PolarBearMike, who has to waste his belly flop, which is EnVy's best engage, just to try and hope to keep his mid laner alive.
Yeah, I mean, Ocean's got to hit 2 buttons, right? Got to hit you with the ring and then hits you with the ricochet as well. It's a lot of trouble. Lack of peel here for EnVy has certainly been an issue throughout the entirety of the game because, like you noted, CycloneSpin is not exactly going to be hanging out by his carries looking for the peels. He's going to be more aggressive looking for the kills.
Yeah, like CycloneSpin's 3-0-1. You look at his stat line, isolated by itself, it's great. And that's because CycloneSpin is a very good player. Trouble here in the mid.
Ocean's trying to find the help
a lot of
the
investment.
Other players, but instead runs directly into Team Eager. Zapman with his 7th kill of the game, and he's half of his own team's kills.
EnVy really needed to find DJ in that engagement. Eager wasted so much. They invested Divios' ult, DJ's ult, as well as almost all of their normal abilities into killing him, and DJ still managing to get out. Ocean's just a little bit too pushed up without the rest of his team around him.
Fire Giant just gets blown up, folks. And that's going to be the first big guy of the game. Fire Giant around Eager's waists. And now they're surging forward, almost 10,000 gold in the lead. And Eager looking for the mid lane.
This is brutal. 35 minutes in. Eager have played this. This has played out, I want to say, exactly how they expected. You look at their scores, right? DJ's died twice, but he's set up 12. He is 2, 2, and 12. He has been a part of every single kill. He has been, his ultimate specifically has been instrumental in setting up these engagements for Eager, right? And it's always kill Kiki. Look, 6 deaths to his name, more than anyone else in the game. The only one who's close is Skeeledon.
djpernicus has had one of the best games here for Eager on the squad today. It's very interesting because, like you said, 12 assists and only 2 kills. Not too flashy right now. Eager making the play on the left-hand side. KikiSoCheeky gets put down by DJ. That'll be number 3.
And DJ just a little bit too tanky. He's getting crit under tower for 179. He's laughing that off, and with Ratatoskr and Eager are just moving in one pick at a time. Skeeledon's gonna ult, trying to answer back, but it's not gonna happen. Right-hand side though, CycloneSpin forced out, and it's just gonna be this chip away style from Eager, playing it safe. Don't get over aggressive, don't dive.
And plus they have the Chronos. As soon as people stop trying to zone out Zapman, these Phoenixes just fall down.
And they have the, Aurora on this Guan as well. And, like, I saw it earlier, but they have the Ratatoskr coming out of TheBest. He's picked that up, so the meditation from Divios and the conviction from Aurora are just that much more potent.
I've always, we mentioned this in the broadcast the other day. Eager building Ratatoskr.
They love this item.
I love it. It's so Winged Blade brings a whole bunch of defensive numbers plus a nice passive that gets you out of slows. Well, Ratatoskr gives you a whole bunch of defensive numbers plus 75 power. I love this item, and forget about the Guan meditation interactions between there. That just brings it even further. The choice, and what I like about it is on a god like Chronos, let Zapman build his build. Go for it, buddy. I'll take it on Vulcan. And then when things switch around, Eager know how to itemize as a team. You pointed out 5 of the slow daggers. I love the way Eager are doing what they do.
14,000 healing coming out of Guan right now. And we haven't even really seen a lot of sieges. It's been like those are pure engagement heals. There's not a lot of poke. Okay, heal up, poke. Okay, heal up, let's fight. The only time we've seen poke and heal up was that last Phoenix, and that was it all game. So pretty good numbers coming out. Can we actually highlight TheBest? Because he has 2 health items, right? Ratatoskr and Winged Blade.
And still able to really do what Vulcan wants to do. I mean, he's lowest on his team's damage, but he's bringing the damage when it counts. None of this fake poke and then let you heal up. He's just looking for the big bang.
2,400 health. Like, it's so much harder for Kiki to survive, right? TheBest can just survive that 1 extra ability with those 2 items, as well as if he gets slowed, he's going to have that bonus movement speed with his new passive as well. It's going to be very hard to lock him down here, but EnVy, they have to try if they want to win this game.
All 3 Phoenixes have already been stripped by Team Eager. Still looking for the opportunity to push on in. Ocean's poked out and poked down. Titan now being aggressed on 75% HP as Eager now start tunneling in. There's the ultimate of Ho-Yi. Too late, too little, too gone. Down goes the Titan, and Eager take game 1 against EnVy.
That was just clean, right? 5 to 15 in kills. We saw a lot of fights, but everything just goes in Eager's way. Very early game, we see what EnVy's game plan is, right? We have the Raven, we have the Isis. Let's invade that speed on the first spawn. Eager's like, we got Chronos late game. We're fine. Yep. Take it. We're just going to have Zap invade your red and your boars. and he'll get ahead of Oceans, like one of your other big stars. And then came, them trying to force the Gold Fury, which obviously it worked for Envy. I mean, it was great, right? You have the ISIS, you got to go for the early objectives, you get it. They escape only losing one player, and then like 2 players just like feed back in, trying to stop the red buff invade. You could have just gave up that red buff. Take a page out of Eager's book, right? They're like, fine. We don't care about our speed. You got to do the same thing with a red buff. Instead, 2 more people get picked up, and Eager do a really good job of keeping the game even. They didn't really try and they didn't force anything, right? Outside of a pick or 2.
Exactly, and you pointed it out early. They've got Eager had a Chronos selection, right? You can sit on that choice and say, look, we can respond and just keep the game even, because when the game goes late, it'll never be even because we've got Zapman on Chronos, and we're just going to trust in the big boy.
What was it?
Certainly worked out.
They ran the Girdle last week.
Yep.
And I think he hit for like an 835 basic, not even Polynomicon. It was brutal.
Certainly very devastating. Zapman returning to the Chronos or not? Game number 2.